Is our streaming on? Oh, okay. Thanks, Vicki. Okay, can we have the roll call?
Kiefhofer,
Here.
DeHaven,
Here.
Sproul,
Here.
Dobry,
Here.
Randall,
Here.
Lewis,
Here.
Medina.
Here. All right, do we have an approval of the agenda as presented or any amendments that need to happen?
I move we approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
Motion made by Dobry and seconded by Lewis?
Randall,
Yes.
DeHaven,
Yes.
Lewis,
Yes.
Dobry,
Yes.
Kiefhofer,
Aye.
Sproul,
Yes.
Medina.
Yes. All right, we're going to move on to number 2 on our agenda, the consent agenda. The consent agenda is a listing of items, a group of items to be acted on with a single motion and vote. This agenda is designed to expedite the handling of limited routine matters by City Council. Either the public or a council member may request that an item may be removed from the consent agenda at the time prior to council's vote. I will ask if a citizen or council member wishes to have any specific item removed from the consent agenda for discussion after reading the list. A, approval of the minutes for meetings on October 28th and November 12th, 2025. B, approval of the expenditure list for November 25th, 2025. C, approval of a special event permit to allow the Cortez Area Chamber of Commerce to host an event on December 6, 2025 from 4 to 10 p.m. located at 20 West Main Street, Cortez. And D, approval of a special event permit to allow the Cortez Area Chamber of Commerce to host an event on December 11th, 2025 from 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. on the premises of Nitty Gritty Off-Road located at 33 East Main Street, Cortez. Would anyone like to see an item removed from the agenda for discussion? All right.
Madam Mayor, I believe we have a couple of quick meeting minutes amendments.
Okay, do we need a table A or?
No.
Continue?
I think
Sorry.
we can just make those on the fly. If I could just point them out for you, and then you could make a motion perhaps as amended. The first one would be the City Council work session, Wednesday, November 12th, Section 3. There's a line in there that, let's see, the last sentence that says the conversation includes strategies for long-term planning, ballot preparation, improving city services such as advertising, facilities, beautification, and childcare, with recognition that home rule municipalities have discretion if voters approved. We suggest striking such as advertising, facilities, beautification, and childcare. Next, this will be the November 12th council meeting minutes, section 11, item B, subsection I. That would, the last sentence, we would strike the words pass holders from that sentence. And then the last one, I've got a note here for Public Arts Board presenting on a council meeting, I'm not sure. Okay, just move it down one. Okay, so we'll strike that. So those two are the only amendments we would suggest.
Okay.
I move we approve the consent agenda with those changes.
Second. Motion made by Dobry and seconded by Randall.
Sproul,
Yes.
Randall,
Yes.
DeHaven,
Yes.
Lewis,
Yes.
Kiefhofer, Dobry,
Yes.
Medina.
Yes. Okay. We're going to move on to number 3 on our agenda, public participation. Individuals may not comment on items that are on the council agenda during the public participation time. This is an open time for other topics. There's no limit to the number of speakers, although public comment will be held to an overall time limit of 30 minutes. Speakers may have a time limit of 3 minutes per person, may only speak once, and may not cede time to another commenter. All right, do we have any comment cards? Jason, do you mind checking? Thank you. All right. Do we have any one from the audience who would like to participate in the public comment section? All right. Seeing none, we'll move on to number 4 on our agenda. Presentations, we have none tonight. So number 5 is public hearings. 5A is ordinance number 1349, series 2025, an ordinance to adopt several revisions to the Cortez Land Use Code. Presented by Nancy Dalsdahl, our contract city planner.
Good evening. It's nice to be back here again. This is the public hearing and second reading for the proposed amendments to the land use code. Just a little bit of background is that after using the code, a number of typos, bad references, and other issues were found. So we have a series of changes. Their changes included to chapters 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. I know we went into quite a bit of detail on these changes at your last meeting. I've got them all pulled up here and can go over each change in detail again, or if you'd rather, we could just discuss the changes that you have concerns with. I'm not sure if there's any people here that would like to hear all the changes, but I'm happy to go over that. Maybe what's your pleasure?
Probably just the ones that we had concern about.
Okay. Really, chapter 5 was the one chapter that there was quite a bit of discussion on. There is a proposed change that was regarding the signs in windows of development. The code, as it currently stands, has a provision that only 50% of a window can be covered with a sign. I've done a bit more research on that, and it does appear that that was a brand new provision put in that new code. It wasn't in the old code. When someone was asked to explain it, it was difficult to explain. Did it mean all the windows in the building? The easy answer was to clarify it at 50%. And I've got to apologize to you. The staff report and the exhibit to the ordinance don't match at this moment. The staff report states that we eliminated the provision. The exhibit to the ordinance still includes the provision to clarify the 50%, that it's 50% per window. So discuss it among yourselves. We're happy to change it whichever way you feel most appropriate. It's pretty easy to eliminate that provision from the code and that from that table, or we can clarify it or do whatever you feel is appropriate.
You know, I would go back and look at our last council meeting when Councilmember Spruill mentioned that, you know, we have many businesses that exceed this, and to me it makes no sense having codes that are not being enforced or are not enforceable. So I would recommend that we just remove that.
As I commented on our last one, I see no reason to have that. I went down Main Street after our last council meeting and counted, and there was numerous amount of windows on Business District, not including North and South Broadway, that were covered. And I can't see us enforcing that, and I don't know why we would.
And just to add, it was one of the goals of the revised land use code to not make things non-conforming, and it does appear that this violates that goal. Happy to remove it. Just want to make sure when you make your motion to adopt the ordinance that you make it clear to eliminate the provision in table 5.6 regarding the maximum amount of window that can be covered per sign.
Okay. Yeah, I think we're in general agreement. Do we need a, well, we need to open up for public.
Yes.
All right, we'll open this public hearing. Anyone from the audience who'd like to speak on this topic? All right, seeing none, we'll close the public hearing portion.
I move that council approve on second reading ordinance number 1349, series 2025, an ordinance approving revisions to the Cortez Land Use Code as set forth in the ordinance, subject to the possible amendment, or to the amendment to amend table 5.6 sign measurements in the land use code to remove the maximum amount of window that can be covered with signs per window.
Second.
Motion made by Randall and seconded by,
Dobry,
Yes.
DeHaven,
yes.
Randall,
Yes.
Lewis,
Yes.
Spruill,
Yes.
Kiefhoffer,
Aye.
Medina.
Yes. Okay. We'll move on to 5B on our agenda? Ordinance number 1352, Series 2025, an ordinance to amend the Land Use Code to comply with the provision 123 Fast Track Affordable Housing Land Use Review Requirements, presented by Nancy Dosdall, our contract city planner.
Thank you. So this is another public hearing and second reading on an additional code amendment. We pulled this one out separate because it has a separate purpose. There is new state legislation regarding cities that have opted into Proposition 123, that to stay eligible for that funding, the city is obligated to adopt a fast-track land use processing purpose, policy and regulations for qualified affordable housing projects. You have to have that adopted by January 1, 2027. Should you choose to adopt it sooner, and that's by the end of this year, 2025, there is eligibility for a no-match grant from the state for $50,000 that can be used for other projects that might implement affordable housing in the city. I just want to note that this is really a very minor change to the city. In fact, it's almost no change at all because the city already processes affordable, all projects, usually within the 90-day limit. This is just a code amendment that requires you to do that you already do, and guarantees to the state that affordable housing projects will be promptly reviewed and processed through and approved. In order to adopt this, many communities are simply adding into their processing requirements that there's a fast-track process for affordable projects only. The city of Cortez, however, already had an incentive in their code to grant additional density to affordable housing projects. So that's been in your code. Even before the new land use code, it was put in place and was actually used by Housing Solutions for Southwest Colorado. They haven't built the project yet, but it added an additional 1 unit, I believe, into a 4 or 5 unit complex down off of 7th, I believe. So instead of simply adding in the quicker processing, we added a new code and put both of those incentives in that same provision of code. So now the proposal has in the same place the density bonus, the faster track, maybe. One additional incentive was proposed and reviewed with the Code Committee and the Planning Commission, which was to bump up a little bit the incentive or the ability to have a project approved administratively. So it wouldn't go up to the Planning Commission, it could stop at staff as far as reviewing a site plan. And I think we talked about this quite a bit at your last meeting, the recommendation that was coming to you was to bump that up from the existing 4 units, which get reviewed at the staff level, up as high as potentially 16. You could also choose a lower number than 16. I think there's quite a bit of discussion about that at your level, or you could eliminate that provision altogether and not include that as an additional incentive to encourage developers of affordable housing in Cortez. So we have in front of you the entire proposed new section for incentives, and from what we've discussed already, perhaps what you might hear at a public hearing is essentially 3 incentives for affordable housing developers: fast track guaranteed, density bonus that's already in your code, just pulled into this section, and then you need to discuss the third potential option of, do you want to bump up the even faster track of an administrative review for affordable projects of a certain size? Any questions?
Thank you for your presentation on this again. I just want to be sure that we're clear on this. And basically, we're doing a pretty fast track right now.
Yes.
With our cap at 4 units to be administratively approved. Is that correct? I mean, we can administratively approve up to 4 units currently, correct?
Correct.
Okay, and that's working for us, is it not?
Yeah, in the last 3 years, I think we looked at 1 triplex.
So we've only had 1 in the last 4 years?
Yeah.
But did you find that, do you feel that it will really markedly improve anything by increasing that number to 16?
It makes it even faster.
Well, it doesn't make it any faster. For the process is 4 right now. But if someone is making a proposal to put in a 16-unit thing or complex or whatever, then it will still have to come to council. It would have to come to council if it was greater than 4 now, but it wouldn't necessarily cause any time increase. We've been meeting these needs in the one that we've done in the last 4 years by still being under that time frame.
You would still make it under the 90 days, and you would have to.
Okay, so it makes
And
it.
an administrative permit could get approved in 2 to 3 weeks. But by requiring the public hearings, and I believe most of them stop at planning commission now unless someone appeals it. So I'm not sure that council will see much of them unless it gets appealed. It would be faster, that's all.
Okay. So I'm opposed to this in that I don't see any benefit to it. And it takes the ability of the public away from their ability to, it restricts the public's ability to have a comment on it. And we really see no benefit. It's not gonna make things faster. The state's not gonna bless us any faster or give us any more money for this. I just don't see any reason for it to be. I don't see a need to make a change just to make a change.
Are you opposed to the number of units or the entire thing? Because there is a benefit of a $50,000 grant from the state if we pass the things that we've already done.
No, I see it. Works fine with 4 units. Why would we bump it up to 16? I mean, there's no benefit to bump it up.
Yeah, I just wanted that clarification.
Thanks. So thanks. for
Mayor,
help.
can I jump in one second? I think we need to clarify this. 16 was not something that came from the state. In fact, that's not a requirement. We have not been clear, and I kind of hope that that would have happened here, but I didn't see it, so I want to make sure that the council is clear. When this went to the Planning Commission, they recommended only 4. And so we would like to use that as the starting place for council, not 16. If council chooses to increase that, please do. But to be quite honest, from the staff perspective, we don't want any more authority. 4 is just about enough, and if it's more than that, there is absolutely no reason why we cannot quickly get it before you and the Planning Commission.
Can I just make once again, there's a discrepancy. Changes were made after I wrote it. The ordinance does not have that provision in it. We deleted that from the ordinance. The numbering's not quite perfect in the ordinance in that because it was deleted, the incentive starts with number 2. So assuming you choose to adopt it under expedited review and processing A, it should start with 1 and 2, and there would be 2 incentives, which are the 90 days and the additional density.
When we originally discussed this in the land use update, the way that we arrived at 4 was 4 is the line between residential development from a mortgage standpoint. You can develop a fourplex with a residential mortgage. Anything larger than that is commercial lending, commercial development. I think that's a reasonable line for us to draw, and I think keeping it at 4 makes sense.
Yeah, I think I'd rather over time if like there's a lot of people who want to do 6 or more and are having to come through our process that's a little drawn out than administratively approved, then we could bump that number up to just save time and yeah. Okay. Well, we'll open this up for open up the public hearing for any public comment. Do we have anyone from the audience who'd like to speak on this? Okay, seeing none, we'll close the public hearing portion. Do we have any other comment, or does anyone need to clarify what motion they'd make?
Well, I had a spiel that I was going to do, but I think the council already agrees with me, so I'd just be wasting my time. I don't think it encourages affordable housing by getting approval administratively. I don't think that encourages anything, so I am in agreement with 4.
Thanks, Dennis.
Time? So I move that council approve on second reading ordinance 1352, series 2025, an ordinance revising the land use code to add incentives for affordable housing projects with the following amendment: to add the language to the ordinance stating that land use is a home rule issue and not a matter of statewide concern. Remove incentive item 1 from Exhibit A in section 3.07.5.A that allows for administrative approval of any number of units beyond the 4 already allowed in the land use code. Modify incentive item 1 from Exhibit A, proposed number of units that can be administratively approved from 16 to 4.
So just to confirm, it would just be the first 2 of those because you're already removing it beyond 4 with that second one. Is that correct?
Sorry, I was having a hard time understanding. Say it again.
The second of those amendments, remove incentive item 1 from Exhibit A, is instead of, not in addition to, the third amendment.
Correct.
Yeah, so it would just be the home rule issue, and then remove that incentive. And with that confirmation, I'll second.
Yeah, that's the way I
Right.
read it too.
Correct, and we don't need 3 or the
We
third.
don't need 3.
Okay.
Okay. Do you want me to restate that?
Do we need to
With that confirmation, I'll second it. I think we're fine with just those 2. That's the motion.
Correct, yeah.
Okay. Motion made by Randall and seconded by Dobry.
Lewis,
Yes.
Brule,
Yes.
Kiefhoffer,
Right.
DeHaven,
Yes.
Dobry,
Yes.
Randall, Medina.
Yes. Okay, we're going to move on to number 6 on our agenda, unfinished business. We have none. Oh, thank you, Nancy. Then 7 on our agenda is new business. 7A is Department of Local Affairs Housing Planning Program Grant, presented by Jason Armstrong, our Interim Director of Community and Economic Development.
Evening, Council, Madam Mayor.
Is your microphone on?
Yes, ma'am.
Tonight, we bring before you a request to submit an application for the 2025 Planning Program Grant, HPLN. Little background on this. Under new state law, Senate Bill 24-174, Colorado municipalities have been mandated to develop a water supply and strategic growth element for their comprehensive plans by December 31st, 2026, and updating these elements at least every 5 years thereafter. The legislative intention is to integrate water assessment and planning within land use decisions amid ongoing climate concern while simultaneously guarding against bottlenecks or shortages in housing development. A little bit of discussion on this. If awarded, the Community and Economic Development Department will obtain a specialized professional consultant who will help analyze the city's water supply and strategic growth factors, gathering internal and external inputs, and design appropriate components for upcoming full comprehensive plan redraft. To this end, we are seeking to apply for this grant, and the local match for it is 25%. The grant deadline is December 3rd. As a reminder for council, the match for this grant was appropriated in this department's budget for 2026. We currently have received a letter of support from Region 9 Economic Development District, and we have a commitment to receive one from the Montezuma County Board of County Commissioners. So with that, staff recommends that council approve our application for the 2025 HPLN grant as described in the staff report. If approved, the acknowledgement, the council's official action, will be sent along with the application as per DOLA's requirements. And with that, I'll open it up for questions.
I'm sorry, Jason, I didn't hear, did you say that $11,250 is already budgeted for 26?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
So Jason, can you explain to me how this dovetails with our water master plan that's going to be coming up, and how does this all fit together?
Yeah, certainly. The idea behind the project will be to integrate any master planning that's already been by Public Works. So the water master plan, this, I did a little legwork with DOLA on what they really want us to do is create some elements in our comprehensive plan that address specifically water supply as it relates to housing development specifically. This is all around an affordable housing effort. We're going to be going through this process prior to starting on our full comprehensive plan, which if so desired, we'll start working on that in 2027. But right now we have this legislative mandate to get these two elements adopted in a revision by the end of next calendar year. Does that answer your question?
I think so.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I think it would be good. We have a lot of platted subdivisions that haven't been built out, so it'd be good to know if, in a future, if all of those lots had houses built on them, is our water supply sufficient? Do we need to, talk about getting more water rights? I think all of these things kind of relate to each other in a good conversation, so.
So, Jason, when do you expect to be able to, because our water master plan is not going to be in until the second quarter of next year, and when do we expect to be able to get this element done, so that, or this report done? Or
The goal is to get these elements developed and approved by the end of next year. That might be a little bit ambitious, but right now, the way the timeline works with the grant, we would probably be putting out an RFP in the first quarter of next year, and hopefully having somebody on board to start working with all the departments involved by second quarter.
And then the report would be due by December?
Yeah, that's the goal right now.
Madam Mayor, I move that council authorize the Cortez Community and Economic Development Department to apply for the 2025 HPLN grant, supporting the development of water supply and strategic growth elements in the comprehensive plan.
Second.
Motion made by Lewis and seconded by DeHaven.
Randall.
Yes.
Kiefhoffer.
Aye.
Dobry.
Yes.
Spruill.
Yes.
Lewis.
Yes.
DeHaven.
Yes.
Medina.
Yes. All right, thank you, Jason. All right, we're going to move on to 7B on our agenda, letter of support for the Montezuma Heritage Museum, presented by Drew Sanders, our city manager.
Yes, Mayor and Council, as we all know, the Montezuma County Heritage Museum opened in 2022, which was long overdue in our community, and we're all very proud of their efforts. But right now, they're engaged in a fundraising campaign to seek to obtain more than $400,000 to make improvements to their building, develop professional exhibits, et cetera. I think they're also looking at doing a pocket park around their current facility right there, which would also be a great addition. So they're asking for a letter of support from the city of Cortez to seek a T-Mobile hometown grant. And since this is a countywide facility and so on, we brought this to council requesting that you authorize the mayor to sign this on behalf of the city in support of their T-Mobile grant application.
Cool.
Madam Mayor, I move to authorize the mayor to sign on behalf of the city the letter of support for the Montezuma Heritage Museum T-Mobile hometown.
Second.
Motion made by Dobry and seconded by Spruill.
DeHaven.
Yes.
Dobry.
Yes.
Kiefhoffer.
Aye.
Randall. Lewis.
Yes.
Spruill.
Yes.
Medina.
Yes. Thank you. All right, we're going to move on to number 8 on our agenda, draft ordinances and resolutions. We have none tonight. So number 9 on our agenda, city attorney report.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. As I mentioned earlier, we will have a draft ordinance to you prior to December 9th for the charter amendments, and that the intent is to discuss that during the work session on December 9th. I may have to appear remotely. I'm having surgery next week and not sure what shape I'll be in on Tuesday, but I will try to appear in person if I can. But we're anticipating having that to you at least 5 or 6 days prior to the meeting so that you can look into it. I did want to point out, earlier there was discussion about what the lodger's tax can be used for. And it was adopted by ordinance, and it can be amended by ordinance. So it doesn't have to go to the vote, but the purpose, and I'll just read the paragraph that's in our code now. The purpose of this chapter is to impose a tax which will be borne by transient persons using commercial lodging accommodations in the city, including users of commercial campground facilities, and this is the important part, which tax will provide revenues for advertising the community, improving its services, financing new facilities, attracting conferences, conventions, and meetings of a commercial, cultural, educational, and social nature to the city, to provide for the beautification of the city, and to allocate a part thereof for administrative and clerical expenses. So I think the key language is that the revenues can be used for improving the city's services and financing new facilities. Now, it doesn't specify what services or what facilities. And I think if you take a broad view of that language, it would allow for improvements to street or water infrastructure. Now, a more narrow view would be, well, this is under the section of lodgers' taxes, and it deals with lodging accommodations, and perhaps that's a little more expansive view, but the way I read it now, and again, I have to read the ordinances by which it was adopted, but I think currently you have the authority to use the lodgers tax for water infrastructure or street infrastructure. Because it is an ordinance, we may want to consider amending that ordinance when we do our amendments to the city code to clarify if there are any limitations or clarifications that council believes should be placed in there to either broaden or restrict the use of the revenues. But if all you're changing is the use or wanting to use it for a different purpose than we have previously done, I think this gives you pretty broad authority. Now, if you want to raise the tax rate, that would have to go on the ballot. And that's all I've got for my report.
I have a question, Counselor. So you're saying that the lodger's tax falls under an ordinance, but is it not specified in our charter, which has to be changed by a vote? Or how does that differ?
The only place that I've found for lodger's tax is in the city code, not in the charter.
So it's not in the charter at all?
No.
No, and I may have misspoke to you, Counselor, when I answered you last on that.
Okay.
It was my recollection that it was, but it's not. But I think this warrants, before we make any decisions, a much larger discussion on that.
Okay. Thank you.
That's all I have.
Thank you. We'll move on to number 10 on our agenda, city manager report.
Yes, Council, I have a couple of items for you this evening. I wanted to let Council know that I was invited to discuss local government and leadership to the current cohort of Leadership Montezuma this past Thursday. It was well, I guess it was the 13th anyway, but it was a really good event and a really intelligent cohort we've got going, and we're just proud as a city to support Leadership Montezuma. Secondly, I wanted to touch on the library director position updates. So we received 32 applications in the end, and we boiled that down to 4 finalists. When we met with the recruiter and talked to them, we came down to 4 candidates. They're that close that we really felt strongly that we didn't want to pick 3, and we didn't want to try to save a few bucks and perhaps miss out on the best person. So we're bringing 4 in. With that being said, the interview process will be December 9th through the 12th, or they'll be traveling to Cortez the 9th through the 12th, and then the interview process will begin Wednesday, December 10th, and will include a community meet and greet in this building from 5 to 6:30 p.m., and we're requesting not only council but also community support on that, and we got to make sure we get that advertised properly. Then the individual candidates interviews will take place Thursday the 11th, and then that will include a leadership panel, community panel, and then an individual interview with me. So any support that we can get from the council and community in this process is greatly appreciated, especially in something so important as our library. Also, I just wanted to quickly remind the council that the Futures Fair for this that is out at the fairgrounds on December 3rd from 8 till 12. If you have never attended that, I strongly recommend, if you have time to do so, go out and not only support, but look at the impressive, the impressive information and opportunities that are here in our county, and especially when it comes to education. We've got an awful lot of it. So with that being said, that concludes my report.
Thank you. Okay, number 11 on our agenda is the city council committee reports. 11A is the mayor's report on the workshop. First, we had a presentation from Judge Beth Padilla, and she gave us some updated statistics on what the our municipal court is seeing. So there's been a 24% increase in cases from last year. Then there's been around 8 court sessions per month, an increase in land use code cases, a decrease in traffic, decrease in animal-related cases, and an increase in juvenile cases, but that is due to the ordinance we passed allowing law enforcement to direct juvenile cases to a municipal court instead of district. They're also potentially looking into teen court, and I think all of us are kind of excited to see that idea kind of explored more and see if it'll be a good fit for our community. And then there's outreach court has seen 66 folks go through it, 14 graduate, and 18 are in outreach court currently. For more details, I encourage folks to watch our work session to get a more detailed update from the Judge Beth Padilla. And then we had a preliminary discussion regarding the rec center taxation issue, and we'll get a more comprehensive presentation at our December 9th meeting. Then we talked about our priorities and citywide projects. So we're gonna start deep diving into those in the new year and focusing on especially water and infrastructure as we get a lot of those master plans back to us. And then a general council discussion was including a general council discussion in our regular meeting at the end of it during our other business section. And then the great turnout for food in our community members dedicating food to the Good Samaritan. But there's always an increasing need, and so encouraging folks to continue to show up and help our community in need for food. Great, we'll move on to 11B, other board reports. We can start with Councilmember Kefauver.
I'd just like to mention that the golf course staff started covering the greens with tarps for protection, and I want to just put a shout out. We had about 25 volunteers that assisted them, and it only took about an hour and a half because of that.
I'd like to mention that the third Thursday of every November is National Rural Health Day, and Southwest Health Systems received an award from the Colorado Rural Health Centers acknowledging that our hospital as the #1 rural hospital in Colorado for exceptional service and care, which I think is pretty remarkable.
Wow. Amazing, thank you for sharing. Okay. Okay, we'll move on to number 12 on our agenda, our second section of public participation. Individuals may not comment. There's no time limit to the number of speakers, no overall time limit, but speakers get 3 minutes per person. May only speak once and may not cede time to another commenter. Do we have anyone from the public who'd like to speak during this time? Okay, seeing none, we will move on to 13, other items of business. Do you want to start with?
I'll just,
Okay.
okay.
All right, well then we have an executive session on our agenda.
Madam Mayor, I move that City Council move into executive session pursuant to CRS Section 24-6-4024E for the purpose of determining positions relative to matters that may be subject to negotiations, developing strategy for negotiations, and/or instructing negotiators concerning a possible sale of 3 parcels of real estate owned by the city, identified by assessor's parcel numbers 5609-192-00001, 5609-192-0002, sorry, 0002, 4 zeros, 5609-192-403, and located adjacent to the driving range at Conquistador Golf Course at an address to be determined off North Dolores Road in Cortez, and also for the purpose of discussing a personnel matter as authorized by CRS Section 24-6 402-4F1 for the specific purpose of conducting a quarterly appointed official performance update with Drew Sanders, the Cortez City Manager. Mr. Sanders has not requested this executive session occur in an open meeting.
Second.
Motion made by Dobry and seconded by Lewis.
Spruill,
Yes.
Kiefhoffer, DeHaven,
Yes.
Dobry,
Yes.
Randall,
Yes.
Lewis,
Yes.
Medina.
Yes. All right. Thank you all for being here tonight. Those of you who want to hang out till the very end of our meeting, we'll see you in a bit. Happy Thanksgiving. Yeah, I was like, where'd you go? Okay, it is still November 25th, 2025, and the time is 9:08 PM. The executive session has concluded, and the council is reconvened into open session. Those persons participating in Part 1 of the executive session were myself, Mayor Rachel Medina, Mayor Pro Tem Dennis Spruill, and council members Matthew Kiefhoffer, Lydia DeHaven, Bill Lewis, April Randall, and Robert Dobry. Also participating was City Manager Drew Sanders, Economic and Community Development, or Community and Economic Development Director Jason Armstrong, and City Attorney Patrick Coleman participated in Part 1 of the executive session. Mr. Armstrong and Mr. Coleman did not participate in session. Part 2 of the executive session, no adoption of any proposed policy, position, resolution, rule, regulation, or formal action occurred during the executive session. If any member of council or a member of the public believes that the subject matter of the executive session was not statutorily authorized, or that the discussions that occurred in executive session strayed from the announced subject matter, please speak up now. Seeing none, I'll accept a motion to adjourn this meeting.
Madam Mayor, I move to adjourn.
Second.
Motion made by Lewis and seconded by Dobry.
Kiefhoffer,
Aye.
Spruill,
Yes.
Dobry,
Yes.
Lewis,
Yes.
Haven,
Yes.
Randall,
Yes.
Medina.
Yes. All right, good night, everyone.
Oh, yeah. Well,